Hey guys, did you know a beam compass is a compass with a beam and sliding sockets or cursors for drawing and dividing circles larger than those made by a regular pair of compasses? The instrument can be made as a whole or made on the spot with individual sockets called trammel points and any suitable beam. It's got to be right from the internet. Anyways, today we're going to build a beam compass. So, do you guys remember that time when I did that video when I was all like using a piece of plywood for a beam compass, and I said something along the lines of, I really need to make a good beam compass someday. Well, today's that day, and it's about freaking time. Total material cost came in at a whopping $14 to make 2 compasses. Like, why I haven't made one of these things sooner is beyond me, because I know it's something that's going to get used all the time in the shop. Like, I don't know how many times I've used a paint can to trace a circle because, you know, it's close enough to the diameter you're looking for. But anyways, we're getting her done now, and I think I got up with a simple enough design to be able to bang this out in a couple hours. Okay, so all I did so far was take a coupling nut and drilled a 5/16 hole in it, and that seems to be a pretty good fit for a standard pencil. And then I also took my threaded rod and cut 1 foot off it, so that's going to give me 2 beam compasses, one at 12 inches long and one at 24 inches long. So to hold the pencil in, it's pretty basic. You just put the pencil in the hole and you can tighten the threaded rod in, and that pencil's not going anywhere. So real simple for this. For the point on the other end, that will have to be adjustable along the length of the threaded rod. So I'll go ahead and make that now. One thing that is absolutely critical in beam compass design is using some kind of fancy hardwood like the Paducah I'm using. I mean, like zebra wood or African ebony would also be suitable choices, but you definitely want to pick out something that's going to look good. Now that you pick out the hardwood for your trammel point, you can go ahead and rip it to 1 3/8 wide by 2 1/4 inches long. And then you're going to want to mark the top and bottom center points, because we need to drill a hole through the entire length of the piece. And this whole thickness is going to be the same thickness as your nail, or probably a tight fit for your nail. You're going to want to drill halfway through the top and then flip it and halfway through the bottom, just to ensure that the 2 holes end up in the center of the block itself. Next, I drilled a 3/8 of an inch hole through the side of it, and that's for the threaded rod to slide through. And then I went back and drilled a tap drill size hole through the top, and this is where I'm going to thread my thumb wheel into to actually lock the trammel point to the threaded rod. One great way to tell if your bandsaw has a super sharp blade on is when you see a whole bunch of smoke flying out the bottom and there's a whole bunch of burn marks on your nice Paducah hardwood. Yeah, that's total sarcasm. I really need to change the blade on that. But anyways, I just shaped it a little bit so it looks a little bit nicer, and then I could go back and tap a 1/4 inch hole. Now, as you can see, I'm not using those threaded inserts I bought, and that's just because the Paducah was too hard for those little things to bite into. So I think it will hold the thread fairly well, so I'm just going to actually tap the Paducah itself, and I'm sure that will be fine. Now for my thumb nuts, I actually really need them to be like a thumb bolt. So what I did is countersunk the top of the thumb wheel, and then I could thread a countersunk 1/4 inch bolt through it and tighten it up nice and tight, and that should be perfect to lock my trammel point to my threaded rod. So for the actual point itself, I'm using a concrete nail, and the first thing I did is put a nice sharp point on the end of it, and then I actually ground the head off of it somewhat so that I could pound it down through the tapped hole all the way through that hole I drilled first. And that's going to be a nice tight fit, and it can't come back out because it will be up against the threaded rod itself. And finally, I put a coat of boiled linseed oil on there just to make it a little pretty. But yeah, that's it for this project. If you guys like it, please give me a big thumbs up. And if this is your first time here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm Ryan Nodwell. Thanks for watching.